What if Anakin's son was Palpatine's apprentice? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Luke Skywalker ignites his red lightsaber. The crimson blade cuts through a Jedi Master. Another kill for the Emperor. Another name on his list. The galaxy calls him the Shadow. The Empire's deadliest weapon. Cold, efficient, absolutely loyal. But he doesn't know the truth. Doesn't know his father is Darth Vader. Doesn't know his sister leads the rebellion against him. Doesn't know the Emperor lied about everything. His family, his purpose, his entire life. One confrontation on Dantooine will plant the first seed of doubt. One mission to a lava planet will reveal everything. One choice will decide whether Anakin's son becomes the galaxy's destroyer or its savior. This is how the Chosen One's child was stolen, twisted, turned into darkness itself. And this is how he fought his way back to the light. But first, we need to understand how it all began. 10 years ago, on Tatooine, twin suns blaze overhead. A child's scream cuts through the desert wind. Luke Skywalker, just 10 years old, watches his home burn. Smoke rises black against the orange sky. His aunt and uncle lie dead in the sand. Imperial shuttles descend like mechanical vultures. But this isn't a random attack. This is the Emperor's hunt. Palpatine's Inquisitors have found Anakin Skywalker's son, and they've come to take him. The Outer Rim has become a hunting ground. Palpatine's Inquisitors sweep through system after system, searching for Force-sensitive children. The Emperor's paranoia has grown absolute since Anakin's fall. Every potential threat must be eliminated or controlled. The Inquisitors have followed the trail of Anakin Skywalker's legacy for over a year. It led them to Tatooine, to a moisture farm, to a boy named Luke. The attack comes at sunset. Owen Lars spots the ships first and grabs his blaster rifle. He tells Beru to run with Luke. She tries, but the Inquisitors are too fast, too many. Owen fires until his rifle overheats, killing two before a red lightsaber cuts him down. Beru shields Luke with her body, begging them to leave the boy alone. They don't listen. A blade ignites. Luke screams. The sound carries across the desert. Not far away, Obi-Wan Kenobi feels the disturbance. He's been watching over Luke for 10 years, waiting for the right time to train him. But he waited too long. He races toward the homestead but arrives too late. The Inquisitors have already secured Luke, already loaded him onto their shuttle. Obi-Wan could attack, could try to save the boy. But there are too many. He would die. Luke would still be taken, and the galaxy would lose its last hope. So he watches, helpless and broken, as the Imperial ships lift off and carry Luke Skywalker away. The boy who was supposed to bring balance, now in the hands of the Sith. The journey to Coruscant takes 3 days. Luke spends most of it sedated. When he wakes, he's in a cell. Black stone walls, a collar around his neck. He sits on the cot and waits. Finally, the door opens. Emperor Palpatine enters. The ruler of the galaxy sits beside a terrified 10-year-old boy and begins to speak. "Your family is dead, child. I'm sorry. The rebellion found out about you. Found out that Owen and Beru Lars were hiding a Force-sensitive child. They attacked your home, killed your guardians, and tried to take you. Fortunately, my Inquisitors arrived in time to save you. But not in time to save your family. It's a lie, a complete fabrication. But Luke is 10, scared, alone. And the Emperor's words make terrible sense. The rebels killed his family. The Empire saved him." Palpatine continues, "I know about loss, Luke. I understand your pain. But under my protection, you will never be helpless again. I will teach you to be strong." The boy looks up at the man who rules the galaxy and wants to believe, wants to trust, wants someone to care about him. Slowly, Luke nods. The training begins immediately. Luke is moved to a dormitory with other Force-sensitive children. It's brutal. Children who fail are punished. Children who question are reconditioned. The collar around Luke's neck delivers pain to enforce obedience. But Luke adapts. He learns to sense emotions through the Force, to move objects, to channel his anger into power. The instructors teach that emotion is strength, that the Jedi were fools who denied the truth. Years pass. Luke grows from a frightened child into a hardened teenager. By age 15, he constructs his lightsaber. The Kyber crystal bleeds under his touch, turning crimson. Palpatine watches with satisfaction. Unlike Vader, this apprentice has no conflicting loyalties. Luke is a perfect weapon. At 15, Luke receives his first real mission. Kill a Jedi. A survivor named Kirak Infila, hiding on Shantipole. Luke tracks him to a small temple, where the Jedi trains 6 younglings. Luke enters, lightsaber ready. The Jedi tells the children to flee, then faces Luke. "You're Anakin's son. I can feel his presence in you. He was my friend once, before Palpatine corrupted him. If there's any part of him in you, please listen." Luke rushes forward, attacking with everything he's learned. But Kirak only defends, refusing to harm him. The Jedi speaks as they fight. "Your father was a great man, compassionate, loyal. But Palpatine exploited his fear. Don't make his mistake. Don't let fear and anger control you." The words cut deeper than any lightsaber. Luke's attacks grow more frenzied. He has to silence this Jedi, has to prove him wrong. He channels his rage and the Force surges through him. But Kirak continues defending, continues speaking truth. For a moment, Luke hesitates. His lightsaber lowers an inch. But then his collar activates. Pain explodes through his body. Someone was watching. The Emperor, correcting his apprentice's doubt. Luke doesn't hesitate again. He drives his lightsaber through Kirak's chest. The Jedi dies with sadness in his eyes. Luke stands over the body and feels hollow. But that feeling passes. Doubt is death. He can't afford doubt. The next 5 years bring more missions, more kills. At 16, he eliminates a Jedi on Ord Mantell. At 17, another on Rhodia. At 18, a healer in the corporate sector. Each Jedi says similar things, that they're innocent, that the Emperor lies, that Luke is being used. Luke learns to tune them out, to see their words as manipulation. But late at night, doubts creep back. So many Jedi, all saying the same things, all refusing to fight with killing intent. If they were evil, why didn't they fight like it? Luke doesn't have answers, and he's learned not to ask questions. By age 20, Luke has become the Emperor's perfect weapon. He's killed 8 Jedi personally. His combat skills are exceptional. Palpatine gives him new armor, black plates, a helmet that conceals his features, a title, the Emperor's shadow. Luke's reputation grows. Imperial officers whisper about him. Rebels fear him. He is the Emperor's scalpel, his problem solver, his assassin. Then comes the mission that changes everything. Imperial intelligence detects unusual activity on Dantooine. Heat signatures near an abandoned Jedi temple. Communications chatter suggesting rebel presence. Luke assembles a strike team. 2 squads of elite stormtroopers, an ATST for heavy support, TIE fighters on standby. They load into a stealth shuttle and make the jump to Dantooine. The planet appears below them, green and peaceful. But Luke's instincts prickle. The Force whispers warnings. They land behind a ridge 5 kilometers from the temple and approach on foot. The ruins are ancient, crumbling stone covered in vines, the perfect place for a rebel staging area. Luke signals his team to spread out and surround the structure. He enters first through the main entrance, His lightsaber hangs at his belt, unignited. Inside, the air is cool and still. Dust motes drift through beams of sunlight. Luke pushes deeper, extending his senses. And then he finds it. Not one presence. 20. They'd been masking themselves, hiding in the Force, waiting for him. Luke's hand goes to his lightsaber, just as the ambush triggers. Rebels drop from concealed positions in the upper levels. Ropes, grappling lines, jetpacks. They come from every direction at once, weapons blazing. Luke's lightsaber ignites, crimson blade casting red light. Blaster bolts fill the air. 1, 2, 5, 7. His blade becomes a blur of motion, deflecting shots with precision. Each bolt redirected into walls or back at attackers. A rebel falls, struck by his own shot. Another dives for cover. Luke reaches out with the Force and pulls a stone pillar from the wall. It crashes down on a group of rebels, scattering them. His stormtroopers outside hear the fighting and rush to assist, but the rebels prepared for that. Explosions rock the temple entrance. The stormtroopers' comms fill with panic as they come under fire. Luke's team is cut off. This isn't a rebel cell. This is a coordinated strike force, an ambush designed specifically for Imperial operatives. Luke grins behind his helmet. Finally, a real challenge. A rebel commando charges with a vibroblade, screaming a war cry. Bold move. Stupid, but bold. Luke sidesteps the thrust with minimal movement, his years of training making the motion effortless. He brings his lightsaber across in a horizontal arc. The blade cuts through the vibroblade like it's paper, through the armor plating, through flesh and bone. The man falls in 2 pieces. Luke doesn't pause, doesn't hesitate. Another rebel fires a rocket launcher from the upper gallery. Luke senses it coming through the Force, feels the projectile's trajectory before it's even visible. He reaches out with invisible hands and force pushes the projectile mid-flight. It veers wildly off course and detonates against a wall. Stone shrapnel explodes outward in a deadly spray. Luke raises a force barrier without thinking, deflecting debris away from himself. Several rebels aren't as fortunate. They're struck by flying stone. The attack creates a thick smokescreen that fills the temple interior. When his vision clears, more rebels have entered through breached side entrances. Luke counts quickly. 15, 20, maybe more in the shadows. They move with military precision that impresses him despite himself, covering each other's advances, moving in coordinated fire teams, using hand signals to communicate silently. These aren't the desperate insurgents the Empire's propaganda depicts. These are elite soldiers, professional, disciplined, dangerous. A squad of 5 advances on his position. They spread out, making themselves difficult targets. 2 provide suppressing fire, while 3 move to flank. Luke deflects their blaster bolts almost casually, his blade a blur of crimson light. But he's analyzing their tactics, learning their patterns. They're well-trained. Someone taught them how to fight Force users, how to exploit blind spots, how to coordinate attacks to overwhelm even a lightsaber's defense. Luke decides to test them. He charges directly at the suppressing fire team. They adjust immediately, concentrating fire on his center mass. Exactly what he expected. Luke drops into a slide, passing under their shots. Comes up inside their defensive perimeter. His lightsaber flashes twice. Both rebels fall. The flanking team reacts instantly, abandoning their maneuver to engage him directly. One throws a thermal detonator. Luke catches it with the Force, holds it suspended for a heartbeat, then sends it flying back. The rebel's eyes widen. He dives for cover, but the explosion catches him. Luke uses the chaos to press forward. His blade finds another target, then another. But for every rebel he drops, 2 more seem to take their position. They're not panicking, not breaking. They're adapting, learning from his attacks, adjusting their tactics in real time. Impressive, a rebel sharpshooter fires from a concealed position in the rubble. The shot nearly takes Luke's head off. He deflects it at the last possible instant, locates the shooter, force pulls a chunk of masonry and hurls it. The sniper barely rolls clear. Luke leaps toward that position, but a hail of blaster fire forces him to alter course mid-air. He lands behind a pillar, assesses the situation. His stormtroopers outside are pinned down, heavily engaged. They won't be providing support anytime soon. Luke is effectively alone against 20+ elite rebels, and they know the terrain, have prepared defensive positions, set up crossfire lanes. This is their ambush, their trap. And he walked right into it. Luke's respect for their commander grows. Whoever planned this understood how Imperial operatives think, how they fight, how to exploit their confidence. Luke extends his senses further through the Force, searching for their commander, searching for the mind directing this battle. And then he finds it. The presence he'll never forget, strong, determined, powerful, and eerily familiar. It's like looking into a mirror darkly. Same strength, same intensity, different training, different purpose, but fundamentally similar. Luke's focus sharpens. The rebels around him fade into background noise. All that matters is that presence, that connection. He needs to find her, needs to face her. The rest is just obstacles. His head snaps toward the upper level. There, silhouetted against sunlight streaming through a broken window, stands a figure in white armor. Modified stormtrooper gear, a leader's insignia, blaster pistol in one hand, vibroblade in the other, and a presence in the Force that calls to something deep inside him. Their eyes meet across the chaos. Luke can't see her face through his helmet and her armor, but he knows. Commander Organa, Leia Organa, high-priority rebel target, the Empire's most wanted. Luke raises his lightsaber in challenge. She raises her blaster in response. The battle intensifies around them, but for this moment, they only see each other. Then Leia fires. 3 shots in rapid succession. Expert marksmanship. Each bolt aimed for gaps in his armor, neck, armpit, behind the knee. Weak points only someone with extensive tactical training would know. Luke deflects 2 with his lightsaber. The third, he catches with the Force. Holds the superheated plasma bolt suspended in midair for a heartbeat. The gathered energy crackles and sparks. Then he redirects it toward the ceiling above Leia's position. The bolt strikes stone. The ceiling section begins to collapse. Chunks of ancient masonry rain down. Leia dives aside, rolling with practiced grace, comes up firing again. Luke is already moving. He force leaps, crossing 20 meters in a single bound, landing on the upper level just meters from her. Up close, he can feel her power even more strongly. She isn't trained, doesn't understand what she has, but the Force is strong in her, incredibly strong, almost as strong as his own. How is that possible? Leia holsters her blaster and draws her vibroblade with both hands, takes a combat stance that suggests extensive close-quarters training. Someone taught her well. She doesn't look afraid. That's rare. Most people faced with the Emperor's shadow either flee or freeze in terror. But Leia Organa stands her ground. Her stance is perfect, weight distributed, ready to move in any direction. Luke can respect that, even if he's about to kill her. He attacks. A straightforward thrust meant to end this quickly. Test her defenses. Leia parries, the vibroblade deflecting his lightsaber with a shower of sparks. She counters immediately with a slash at his midsection. Luke twists aside, his armor barely avoiding the blade. He brings his lightsaber around in a spinning strike. Leia ducks under it, dropping into a crouch, and kicks at his knee. The impact buckles his leg slightly. She's strong, stronger than she should be, force-enhanced without even knowing it. She flows like water, each movement precise and economical. Luke presses the attack. High strike. She blocks. Low sweep. She jumps. Thrust to center mass. She sidesteps and the blade passes inches from her ribs. She counters with a series of rapid strikes. Slash, thrust, slash. Each one aimed to kill. Luke parries them all, but she's making him work, making him focus. Most opponents last seconds against him. She's lasted a full minute and shows no signs of tiring. Their duel carries them along the upper-level walkway. Lightsaber clashing against vibroblade again and again. The sound echoes through the temple. Below them, the battle rages. Stormtroopers pour through breached entrances. Rebels fire from defensive positions. Blaster bolts crisscross the space. Explosions rock the structure. But Luke and Leia are locked in their own world. A dance of death between two warriors. Luke feints high. She raises her guard. He strikes low. But she sees through the deception. Her blade comes down to meet his. They lock weapons, pressing against each other, face to face, helmets almost touching. Luke can hear her breathing, quick but controlled. She's not panicking, not losing focus. Who is this woman? He shoves her back with force-enhanced strength. She stumbles but recovers immediately. Comes at him again. This time she's more aggressive, less defensive. Her attacks come faster, harder. She's adapting to his style, learning from each exchange. That's dangerous. Luke meets her assault head-on. His lightsaber moves in tight patterns, blocking, parrying, deflecting. Every strike she makes, he counters. Every opening she creates, he exploits. He scores a shallow cut across her shoulder pauldron. The armor holds, but she grunts, adjusts her stance, favors the other side slightly. Luke presses the advantage, strikes at her wounded shoulder. Once, twice, 3 times, driving her back. She's on the defensive now, giving ground. But her defense remains solid. Every parry perfect, every block timed precisely. She's buying time, waiting for something. Luke realizes too late what she's waiting for. A rebel commando appears behind him, thermal detonator in hand. Luke spins, deflecting the thrown explosive with the force. It detonates mid-air. The shockwave throws both him and Leia in opposite directions. Luke crashes into a pillar. His armor absorbs most of the impact, but his head rings. He shakes it off and looks for Leia. She's already back on her feet, already moving, already calling to her team. Fall back. Her voice carries command authority. All units fall back to Extraction Point Delta. The rebels begin an organized retreat, covering each other, moving in pairs, professional and disciplined. Luke pursues, cutting through anyone who gets between him and Leia. A rebel soldier raises his rifle. Luke force chokes him without breaking stride. The man drops. Another charges with a vibroblade. Luke parries and bisects him in one motion. He's closing the distance, getting closer to Leia. She backs toward an exit, her team laying down suppressive fire. Luke deflects the bolts, advancing relentlessly. He's almost on her. One more strike, and he'll have her. Then the floor beneath him explodes. Not literally, but close. The rebels had planted charges. Demo packs set throughout the temple. They detonate in sequence. The ancient structure begins to collapse. Ceiling tiles fall, walls crack, support pillars crumble. Luke leaps back, avoiding falling debris. By the time he clears a path through the rubble, Leia is gone, vanished into Dantooine's grasslands. Luke stands among the ruins, breathing hard. His team has taken casualties. Multiple stormtroopers dead, the ATST damaged, the rebels escaped, and Commander Organa is still alive. It's a failure. His first real failure in years. Luke returns to Coruscant and reports to the Emperor. He expects punishment. Instead, Palpatine seems pleased. Commander Organa is becoming quite the thorn in our side. She's embarrassed many Imperial officers, led successful operations on half a dozen worlds. But you survived an encounter with her. You even injured her. That's more than most can claim. Luke bows. With respect, my Emperor, I should have captured her, should have ended her threat. I failed you. Palpatine waves dismissively. Patience, young apprentice. You will have another chance. Commander Organa is bold, too bold. She'll make a mistake eventually. And when she does, you'll be ready. Luke nods and withdraws, but he can't stop thinking about Leia, about the connection, about how wrong it felt to fight her. He spends the next weeks training harder, pushing himself, preparing for the rematch. He will not fail again, but that rematch comes sooner than expected. The Death Star, the Empire's ultimate weapon, a battle station the size of a small moon, capable of destroying entire planets. Construction has taken years, consumed resources from 1,000 worlds. Now, it's operational, ready for its first demonstration. The target is Alderaan, Bail Organa's homeworld, a rebel stronghold. The Emperor wants to make an example, show the galaxy what happens to those who defy the Empire. But the rebellion has learned about the Death Star. They've obtained plans, discovered a vulnerability, a thermal exhaust port that leads directly to the main reactor. One well-placed shot could destroy the entire station. It's a desperate gamble, nearly impossible. But the rebellion has to try. They launch a two-pronged attack. Fighter squadrons will attempt the trench run. Meanwhile, a ground team will infiltrate the station and sabotage the super laser's targeting systems from within. If they can delay the shot even by minutes, it might give their fighters the time they need. Luke is assigned to security. His mission is simple: find the infiltration team, eliminate them, ensure the demonstration proceeds as planned. He moves through the Death Star's corridors with a squad of elite stormtroopers. His senses are extended, searching for intruders. The station is massive, labyrinthine, thousands of corridors, millions of personnel. Finding a small infiltration team should be impossible. But Luke has the Force. He can feel them. 6 presences that don't belong, moving through maintenance shafts, avoiding main corridors, heading toward the super laser control systems. And among those 6 presences, one burns brighter than the rest. One calls to him through the Force like a beacon. Commander Organa. She's here, on the Death Star, leading the infiltration personally. Luke's blood quickens. This is his chance. His opportunity to finish what started on Dantooine. He signals his squad to follow and moves faster. The infiltration team has reached the super laser control room. They're working quickly, slicing into computer systems, planting explosives, preparing to cripple the station's main weapon. Leia coordinates them with calm efficiency. She's done operations like this before, knows the risks, knows the odds, but also knows this is necessary. If Alderaan is destroyed, billions will die. Her homeworld, her people, her family. She can't let that happen. One of her team members, a Bothan slicer named Koth, works frantically at a computer terminal. How much longer? Leia asks. 2 minutes, maybe 3. The encryption is military grade. We need to be certain or the explosives won't do enough damage. We don't have 3 minutes. Work faster. Koth's fingers fly across the keyboard. His leku twitch with concentration. Then alarms blare. Red lights flash throughout the control room. They've been detected. Security override. Someone's coming. A lot of someone's. Leia draws her blaster. Defensive positions. We hold until Koth finishes the slice. The team spreads out, takes cover behind consoles and equipment, prepares for the coming fight. The doors explode inward, not blown by explosives, torn open by the Force. Luke steps through the smoke and sparks, lightsaber ignited, crimson blade casting hellish light across the control room. Behind him, a dozen stormtroopers pour in, weapons raised. Leia recognizes him immediately, even through his helmet. The stance, the presence, the shadow. We meet again. Luke's voice is modulated through his helmet's vocoder. Cold, mechanical. You should have stayed away from the Death Star, Commander. Now you'll die here. We'll see about that. Leia fires. 3 shots in rapid succession. Luke deflects all 3. The stormtroopers open fire. Blaster bolts fill the room. The rebels return fire from cover. 2 stormtroopers fall in the first exchange. But the rebels are outnumbered. Outgunned. This is a holding action. They just need to buy Koth time. Luke advances methodically, deflecting shots, moving through the chaos like death incarnate. A rebel soldier charges him with a vibroblade, brave, foolish. Luke sidesteps and cuts him down without breaking stride. Another tosses a thermal detonator. Luke catches it midair with the Force and sends it back. The explosion takes out 2 more rebels. Koth is still working. His hands shake, but he doesn't stop. Almost there. Just a few more seconds. Leia provides covering fire, empties her blaster's power pack, reloads, fires again. But Luke is getting closer, step by step, inexorable, unstoppable. She knows she can't beat him in direct combat. Saw that on Dantooine. But she doesn't need to beat him. Just delay him. She holsters her blaster and draws her vibroblade, activates her personal shield generator, then steps out from cover and runs directly at Luke. The move surprises him, surprises the stormtroopers. They hesitate, afraid to shoot and hit Luke. That hesitation costs them. Leia's team takes advantage, drops 3 more troopers. Then Leia is on Luke. Her vibroblade clashes against his lightsaber in a shower of sparks. Got it. Koth's voice cuts through the noise. The slice is complete. Charges are set. Leia doesn't respond, doesn't look away from Luke, just fights with everything she has. Her blade moves in tight, controlled arcs. Defense, deflection, survival. She's not trying to win, just buying seconds. Luke realizes what she's doing, realizes this is a delaying tactic. He reaches out with the Force, feels the explosives planted throughout the control room, feels their timers counting down, 30 seconds. He could disarm them, could use the Force to disable the charges, but that would mean stopping his attack on Leia, would mean giving her an opening. Luke makes a decision. He channels the Force into pure strength, accelerates his attacks. His lightsaber becomes a blur, strike after strike after strike, each one faster than the last, each one more powerful. Leia's defense begins to crack. Her vibroblade can't keep up, can't match the speed. A glancing blow catches her shoulder pauldron. The armor holds, but she's thrown off balance. Luke presses the advantage, kicks her in the chest. She flies backward, crashes into a computer console. Sparks fly, warning lights flash, 15 seconds. Luke advances for the killing blow, but Leia's remaining team members cover her retreat. They fire everything they have. Force Luke to deflect, force him to defend. It's enough. Leia recovers, rolls to her feet, looks at her team. Fall back, everyone out. Now, they run for the exit. A secondary entrance they'd prepared. Luke pursues, but the explosives detonate. The control room erupts in fire and smoke. The blast throws Luke backward. His armor protects him, but the force is incredible. Machinery explodes, ceiling panels fall, fires spread. 10 seconds. By the time Luke recovers, the rebels are gone, vanished into the Death Star's maze of corridors. The super laser control systems are damaged, smoking. Critical errors flash across every screen. The targeting computer is offline. The demonstration shot will be delayed, maybe by hours. Luke failed, again. He stands in the ruined control room, surrounded by dead stormtroopers, and feels rage building. Why can't he stop her? Why does she always escape? More alarms sound throughout the station. The rebel fighter attack has begun. X-wings and Y-wings screaming through the Death Star's surface trenches. TIE fighters engaging them. The battle is on multiple fronts now. Luke needs to report, needs to inform command about the sabotage. But part of him wants to pursue, wants to hunt Leia through the corridors, finish this once and for all. He forces himself to turn away, to do his duty, but he knows this isn't over. They'll meet again, and next time, he'll be ready. The Death Star survives the rebel attack. Barely. The sabotage Leia's team inflicted delayed the super laser long enough for rebel fighters to make their trench runs. Several came close to exploiting the thermal exhaust port. One pilot, Luke doesn't catch his name, nearly succeeded. But Imperial defenses held. The station survived. The rebellion's desperate gamble failed. Alderaan is destroyed as planned. Billions dead in an instant. The demonstration is complete. Fear will keep the systems in line. Fear of this battle station. But Luke feels no triumph, no satisfaction. The operation was nearly compromised. The Emperor's ultimate weapon was nearly destroyed. Because of one rebel commander. Because of Leia Organa. Because Luke failed to stop her. The Emperor summons him after the battle. Luke expects punishment this time. Expects pain. But Palpatine merely looks at him with those yellow eyes. You encountered Commander Organa again. Yes, my Emperor. And she escaped again. Yes. Palpatine is silent for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he smiles. Tell me, young apprentice. When you fight her, what do you feel? Luke hesitates. Anger, frustration, determination. No. What do you truly feel? Be honest. I feel. Luke struggles to articulate it. I feel like I'm fighting myself, like I'm looking into a mirror. She fights with the same intensity, the same purpose, just directed differently. Interesting. Palpatine stands, walks to a window overlooking space. Come here. Luke obeys. Stand beside me. Look at the stars. Luke does. What do you see? Countless worlds. Each one a potential threat or asset. Each one requiring control. Control requires strength, and strength requires unity of purpose. You and Commander Organa are similar. I've felt it too. That connection. She may even be force-sensitive, though untrained. That makes her dangerous, but also valuable. Valuable. If she could be turned, if she could serve the Empire as you do. Imagine the power of two such servants, the control we could exert. Could she be turned? Luke asks. Everyone can be turned. Everyone has a breaking point, a weakness, a fear. Find hers. And when you face her again, exploit it. Bring her to me alive. Understood? Yes, my Emperor. Luke bows and withdraws. But Palpatine's words echo in his mind. A connection. She could be turned. Why does that thought disturb him more than the idea of killing her? The Emperor develops a new obsession. For years, Palpatine has sought Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Jedi Master who defeated Vader, who escaped the Purge. Intelligence suggests he's alive, moving through the Outer Rim, training potential rebels. Palpatine wants him dead. Luke is dispatched to find him. It becomes a months-long pursuit. Luke follows every lead, every rumor, every hint. He arrives at planets days after Kenobi leaves, finds safe houses still warm, witnesses still frightened. The old Jedi is careful, experienced, but Luke is relentless, patient. He studies Kenobi's patterns, his habits. Slowly, he narrows the search, predicts where the Jedi will go next. The first encounter happens on Tatooine. Luke returns to his birthplace for the first time in 10 years. The Lars homestead is gone, just burned ruins and sand. Luke stands where his home once was, where his aunt and uncle died. He feels nothing. The conditioning has buried those emotions deep. He's here for a mission, nothing more. But as he surveys the area, extending his senses, he feels it, a presence, watching him. Luke turns toward the Jundland wastes. Kenobi. The Jedi isn't hiding. He's observing, studying, maybe even hoping. Luke draws his lightsaber and walks toward the rocks. The presence doesn't flee, doesn't hide, just waits. Luke finds Obi-Wan sitting on a boulder, hood drawn, completely calm. The old Jedi removes his hood. His face is weathered, aged, sad. You've come home, Luke, though I imagine it doesn't feel like home anymore. Luke's grip tightens on his weapon. You know who I am. I've known you since before you could walk. I held you when you were born. Your mother made me promise to watch over you, to protect you. Luke feels anger rising. You failed. My family died because of Jedi like you. Obi-Wan's expression doesn't change. I did fail. I failed you and your father both, but not in the way you think. The Emperor has lied to you about everything, Luke. Your family, your father, your purpose. Come with me. Let me show you the truth. Luke ignites his lightsaber. The only truth I need is that you're a traitor, and traitors die. He lunges forward. The attack is brutal, designed to kill. But Obi-Wan's lightsaber ignites blue, catching Luke's crimson blade. They lock for a moment. Then Obi-Wan pushes him back gently. I won't fight you, Luke. I won't harm Anakin's son. Then you'll die. Luke attacks again, and again. Each strike more aggressive than the last. But Obi-Wan only defends. Every parry is soft. Every deflection is minimal. He's not trying to win. He's trying to reach Luke. Your father was the best man I ever knew. Obi-Wan speaks between parries. Brave, compassionate, loyal to a fault. He loved your mother more than anything in the galaxy. And when you and your sister were born, he was the happiest I'd ever seen him. Luke's attacks falter for a fraction of a second. Sister. He has a sister. But he pushes the thought away. More Jedi lies, more manipulation. He attacks harder, more desperately, needing to silence this man, needing the questions to stop. Obi-Wan continues defending, never attacking, never harming. His face shows only sadness and regret. Anakin fell because Palpatine exploited his fear. Fear of losing those he loved. The Emperor promised he could save your mother if he embraced the dark side. It was a lie. Everything Palpatine promises is a lie. But Anakin didn't realize until it was too late. Don't make his mistake, Luke. Don't let fear and lies control you. Luke roars in frustration. Stop talking. Stop lying. He unleashes a force push. The blast of energy hurls Obi-Wan back against the rocks. The Jedi falls hard but doesn't retaliate. Just looks at Luke with infinite patience. If you need to strike me down to feel better, then do it. But know that I love you. I've always loved you. You're my brother's son, your family, and nothing you do will change that. Luke advances, lightsaber raised. He should kill this man, should eliminate the threat, should prove his loyalty to the Emperor. But something stops him. The way Obi-Wan looks at him, like he actually cares, like he sees Luke as a person rather than a weapon. It's the same way Aunt Beru used to look at him, the same way Uncle Owen did. Luke's hand trembles. Obi-Wan sees the hesitation, sees the crack in the indoctrination. The Force is with you, young Skywalker. It's trying to show you the truth. Let it in. Stop fighting yourself. Luke's collar activates. Pain shoots through his nervous system. He gasps and stumbles. Someone is watching. Always watching. The Emperor, correcting him remotely. By the time the pain stops, Obi-Wan is gone, disappeared into the desert. Luke stands alone, shaking, angry at himself for hesitating. He returns to his ship and leaves Tatooine behind. But Obi-Wan's words echo in his mind. You have a sister. Your father loved you. Everything Palpatine says is a lie. Luke buries the thoughts and focuses on his mission. Find Kenobi. Kill him. Prove his loyalty. Nothing else matters. The second encounter happens on Mapuzo. Luke tracks Obi-Wan to an abandoned mining facility. This time, the Jedi is waiting in an old equipment bay. No hiding, no running. Just sitting calmly as Luke approaches. Hello again, Luke. I hoped you'd come. Luke doesn't waste words. He attacks immediately. Their lightsabers clash. The sound echoes through the empty facility. Luke pours everything into his assault. Every technique the Inquisitors taught him. Every skill he's developed. His blade moves faster than human eyes can follow. But Obi-Wan matches him. Move for move. The old Jedi's Form 3 defense is perfect. Every block minimal. Every parry efficient. He's conserving energy while Luke expends his. It's frustrating. Infuriating. Why won't you fight? Luke screams between strikes. Why won't you try to kill me? Because killing you would destroy me. You're Anakin's son. You're the future. Even if you can't see it yet. Luke breaks away, breathing hard. You keep talking about my father like he was some hero. But I know the truth. He was a Jedi traitor. He tried to overthrow the Republic. He deserved to die. Obi-Wan's expression grows even sadder. Is that what Palpatine told you? Luke, your father saved the Republic countless times during the Clone Wars. He was a general, a hero, the greatest pilot in the fleet. He was my brother in all but blood. Luke's anger flares hotter. Then why did he betray you? Why did he turn to the dark side? Because he was afraid. Afraid of losing your mother. She was pregnant with you and your sister. Anakin had visions of her dying in childbirth. Palpatine manipulated those visions. Told Anakin he could save Padme if he embraced the dark side. It was a trap. A lie designed to turn him. And it worked. Luke attacks again. He has to silence these words. Has to stop the doubt from taking root. But Obi-Wan continues speaking, even as he defends. Your mother died of a broken heart, Luke. The medical droid said she lost the will to live after Anakin's fall. But she held on long enough to give birth to you and Leia. Her last words were about how there was still good in Anakin. How she believed he could be saved. She died with hope. Can you say you're living with the same? The question cuts deeper than any blade. Luke's attacks become wilder, more desperate, less controlled. Obi-Wan sees it, sees Luke losing focus. The dark side is consuming you, just as it consumed your father. But you're stronger than him. I can feel it. You have your mother's will, her strength. You can resist what he couldn't. Luke roars and unleashes a massive force push. The wave of energy explodes outward. Equipment flies, walls crack. The entire facility shakes. Obi-Wan is thrown back, but catches himself. He looks at Luke with such sadness it's almost painful to see. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry I failed your father. But I won't give up on you. No matter how far you fall, I'll always be here, ready to help you find your way back. He throws a smoke grenade. The facility fills with thick gray clouds. When it clears, Obi-Wan is gone again. Luke stands alone, fists clenched, screaming in frustration. Why won't he stay and fight? Why does he keep running? And why do his words hurt more than any physical wound? Luke reports the encounter to Palpatine. The Emperor listens carefully, notes the hesitation in Luke's voice, the doubt. It's time, Palpatine decides. Time to bind Luke more completely. Time to show him a truth that will cement his loyalty forever, or destroy him. Either way, the Emperor wins. There's something you should know, something I've kept from you to protect you, but you're strong enough now. You deserve the truth. Luke looks up, uncertain. What truth? Your father is alive. The words don't make sense. Luke's father died years ago. Everyone said so. But Palpatine continues. Anakin Skywalker lives. Or rather, what remains of him lives. He is Darth Vader. Broken, weak. A failure I keep as a reminder of the price of mercy. Luke feels the ground shift beneath him. Darth Vader. The Emperor's former enforcer. The monster who helped destroy the Jedi. That's his father. You're lying. Why would I lie? Vader is a shell of his former self, defeated by Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar, burned, crippled, kept alive by machines and the dark side. I've hidden him away because he's too weak to serve. But you, Luke, you are what he should have been, strong, loyal, uncorrupted by sentiment. Luke feels rage building. All these years, he had a father who never came for him, a father who let the Inquisitors take him. Why tell me this now? Because you need to see what weakness looks like. What happens when sentiment compromises duty? I'm arranging a meeting. You will go to Mustafar. You will meet Darth Vader, and you will kill him. The order is absolute. Luke bows. Yes, my Emperor. But inside, he's reeling. His father, alive. And he must kill him. Luke spends the night in meditation, trying to center himself. But Obi-Wan's words keep returning. Your father loved you. He was a good man. Everything points to the same impossible truth. That the Emperor might be lying. That everything Luke believes might be false. But accepting that means accepting he's murdered innocents, that his entire life has been a lie. That's too painful to consider. So Luke clings to anger, to loyalty, to certainty. Because doubt is a path to destruction. The journey to Mustafar takes 2 days. Luke travels alone. The planet looms ahead, a world of lava and ash. He lands at a fortress built into black stone, Sith architecture radiating dark side energy. Luke enters. The fortress is empty. No guards, no servants, just shadows and the rumble of lava. He walks through corridors carved from volcanic rock, deeper, lower, following the presence he feels, until he reaches a meditation chamber. And there, suspended in a Bacta tank, is Darth Vader. The armor is gone. Luke can see the ruined body beneath. Burned flesh, cybernetic implants, a respirator mask. But his eyes are open. Blue eyes, human eyes. They lock onto Luke immediately. The tank drains. Vader stumbles out, catching himself on the wall. He's weak. So weak. Not the terrifying legend. Just a broken man. My son. Vader's voice is raspy without the mask's vocoder. Raw and vulnerable. Don't call me that. Luke's hand goes to his lightsaber. You abandoned me. Let them take me. Let them turn me into this. I didn't know you existed until it was too late. The Emperor hid you from me. Hid your mother's pregnancy. By the time I learned the truth, you were already his. Already lost to darkness. And I was too broken to save you. Luke wants to dismiss this as lies. But something in Vader's voice rings true. The pain, the regret. It's too genuine to fake. Your mother, Padme Amidala. She was a senator from Naboo, kind, brilliant, strong. I loved her more than life itself. The Emperor used that love to corrupt me, told me I could save her from death if I embraced the dark side. I believed him. I became Darth Vader. And in doing so, I killed her, not with my hands, but with my choices. She died of a broken heart, Luke. Died because I fell. Died believing there was still good in me. And I've lived with that guilt every single day since. Luke's hand tightens on his weapon. You're trying to manipulate me, make me hesitate, strike me down if you wish. I deserve it. I failed you, failed your mother, failed your sister, failed the Jedi, failed the galaxy. I've earned death 1,000 times over. But know this, everything Palpatine told you is a lie. The Jedi didn't betray the Republic. He orchestrated the Clone Wars, manipulated both sides, killed millions to gain power. Your aunt and uncle died on his orders. He wanted you alone, broken, malleable, a weapon he could shape without interference. Luke draws his lightsaber. The red blade ignites. Stop talking. Vader doesn't move, doesn't defend, just stands there, waiting. You have your mother's spirit, her fire, her determination, and my power in the Force. You could be great, Luke, greater than I ever was, but not as his weapon. He's using you, just like he used me. Luke advances, raises his blade. I'm nothing like you. You were weak. You failed. I won't. He swings, but he can't finish the strike. His lightsaber freezes inches from Vader's neck. Not because Vader stopped him, because Luke stopped himself. Images flood his mind, dreams he's had. Dreams of a woman with brown hair and kind eyes, holding a baby. Dreams of a man with a gentle smile, teaching that baby to use the Force. Dreams he dismissed as fantasies. But what if they were memories? What if the Force was showing him truth? Luke lowers his blade, trembling. Vader places a scarred hand on his shoulder. It's okay, son, I understand. If you need to kill me to free yourself, do it. I surrendered my right to call myself your father long ago. But answer one question first. Do you truly believe the Empire is just, that Palpatine cares about order? Or have you seen the cracks, felt the doubt? Luke wants to deny it, but he can't, because Vader's right. He has seen the cracks, the corruption, the cruelty, the way the Empire crushes innocence, creates the chaos it claims to prevent, and all the Jedi he killed, all saying the same things, all claiming innocence, all refusing to fight with real intent, and Obi-Wan's words, and Kirak Infilla's sadness, and the way Leia fought with conviction and purpose, all pointing to one terrible truth. He's been lied to his entire life. Before Luke can respond, an explosion rocks the fortress. Vader tenses. He's here. The Emperor? No. Rebel forces. They tracked you. The Order knew you'd come here. Luke's comm crackles. All units, this is Commander Organa. We've breached the outer defenses. Multiple entry points secured. Locate the Emperor's shadow and extract him. Priority 1. He's a target for interrogation. Vader looks at Luke. You have a choice. Fight beside me against them, or join them. But decide quickly. Luke doesn't know what to do. His worldview is collapsing. Everything he believed is crumbling. But can he trust Vader? Trust the rebels? The comm crackles again. This is Organa. If you can hear this, Shadow, we know you've been deceived. Obi-Wan Kenobi told us about you before he died. Told us who you really are. You're Anakin Skywalker's son. Your name is Luke. And you're my brother. The words hit like a physical blow. Brother. Impossible. But even as he thinks it, Luke knows it's true. That connection he felt during their duel on Dantooine, that strange familiarity, that sense of looking into a mirror. She's his twin sister, Padmé's twins. one hidden with the Lars family, one with Bail Organa, separated at birth, shaped by opposite sides of a war. And now their paths have crossed, have clashed, and neither knew. The fortress shakes again, harder this time. Vader stumbles, too weak to stand alone. Luke catches him instinctively. They look at each other, father and son, both broken by Palpatine, both used, both lied to. Luke makes his decision. We need to move. If the rebels are here, the Emperor won't be far behind. He'll want to ensure neither of us survives. This was a test from the beginning. And I'm done being tested. Vader's eyes widen in surprise, then nods slowly. Then we fight together, for the first time in your life, and perhaps the last time in mine. Luke helps Vader into his armor. It's damaged, systems barely functional. The respirator wheezes with every breath, but it's better than nothing. They arm themselves and move toward the fortress entrance. Outside is chaos. Rebel troops pour through breached walls, engaging Imperial forces that arrived as backup. TIE fighters scream overhead. AT-STs stomp through ash fields. Explosions light the dark sky. And descending through it all is a Lambda-class shuttle. Black, elegant. The Emperor's personal transport. Palpatine has come to witness the end, to ensure his plan concludes as designed. Either Luke kills Vader and proves absolute loyalty, or both die and the Emperor finds new apprentices. Either way, Palpatine wins, or so he thinks. Luke and Vader emerge into battle. Blaster fire fills the air. Explosions rock the ground. Rebel soldiers spot them and open fire. Luke deflects the shots but doesn't return them. He's not their enemy anymore. He shouts into the comm, "Organa, hold your fire, it's me." Silence. Then Leia's voice, cautious. "Shadow? Are you surrendering?" "No, but I'm not fighting you. I need to speak with you. Now. It's about the Emperor, about the truth." Another pause. Luke can feel Leia's suspicion through the Force. She has no reason to trust him. He tried to kill her. Hunted rebels for years. Is the Empire's deadliest weapon. Finally, she responds. "Fine. Fall back to landing zone 7. But if this is a trick, I'll kill you myself." Understood. Luke and Vader move through the battlefield. Imperial forces spot Vader and open fire. They've received orders. Eliminate the Dark Lord. No exceptions. Luke cuts them down. His former allies. Men he trained beside. He kills them to protect his father. It feels like betrayal. But it's also the first honest thing he's done in years. They reach the rebel lines. Soldiers part. Weapons trained on them. Luke can feel their fear and hatred. He's killed dozens of their comrades. He's a monster to them. And now, he's asking for mercy. Leia appears through the crowd. Full combat gear, helmet, rifle. Her presence blazes in the Force. Luke wonders how he never recognized it, how he never realized they were connected. She stops 3 meters away, rifle aimed at his chest. "Take off the mask. Let me see your face." Luke hesitates. His helmet is his identity, his protection. Removing it feels like exposing his soul, but he complies. The helmet comes off with a hiss. For the first time in years, Luke breathes unfiltered air, feels wind on his skin. Even Mustafar's harsh, sulfurous air tastes like freedom. Leia stares, her expression unreadable. "You look like her, our mother. I've seen hollows." The resemblance is undeniable. Luke doesn't know how to respond, doesn't know how to process having a sister, having family. Leia turns to Vader. "And you, Darth Vader, the Emperor's enforcer, the man who helped destroy the Jedi, who terrorized the Outer Rim. Why should we trust either of you?" Before Vader can answer, the sky darkens. Lightning arcs across clouds. The temperature drops 10 degrees in seconds. A wave of dark side energy washes over the battlefield, so intense that everyone freezes, rebels and Imperials alike, all feeling the same primal fear. The Emperor's shuttle lands between the two forces, the ramp lowers, royal guards emerge. But Palpatine waves them back. This is personal. The Emperor walks forward alone, stops 50 meters away. His yellow eyes burn with malice and dark satisfaction. His presence in the Force is overwhelming, suffocating, like standing before a black hole made of pure hatred. Ah, young Skywalker, I see you've made your choice. Unfortunate. I had such high hopes for you. But perhaps this is for the best. You've proven to have your father's weakness, sentiment, attachment. These things have no place in my empire. Luke ignites his lightsaber, red blade casting crimson light. I'm done being your weapon, done believing your lies. You're a monster, and I'm going to end you. Palpatine laughs. The sound echoes across the battlefield. Cold, cruel, ancient. You end me. You're a child playing with powers you don't understand. I've manipulated galactic governments for decades, orchestrated the Clone Wars from both sides, destroyed the Jedi Order, turned your father into my slave. And you think you can stop me? But very well. If you wish to die beside your failure of a father, I'll grant that mercy. Come, young Skywalker. Show me the strength of Anakin's bloodline. Luke charges. Vader follows, slower but determined. Leia shouts for her troops to fall back. This is not their fight. This is between the Skywalkers and the Sith. The battle that will define everything. Luke reaches Palpatine first. His lightsaber swings in a devastating arc, meant to cleave the Emperor in two. All his strength, all his speed, all his training focused into one perfect strike. But Palpatine blocks it with his bare hands. Force energy crackles around his fingers, stopping the blade cold. The lightsaber hums and sparks against the barrier. Luke pushes harder, channels everything into breaking through. But the Emperor holds firm, casually, like Luke is a child pushing against an adult. Then Palpatine shoves. Luke flies back 20 meters, crashes into volcanic rock hard enough to crack it. His armor absorbs most of the impact, but pain explodes through his ribs. Vader arrives, his movements slower than they once were, his strength diminished by years in the suit. But his technique remains flawless. His blade seeks Palpatine's heart in a thrust that would kill any normal being. The Emperor spins. His own lightsaber ignites red, catches Vader's blade. For a moment, they're locked, master and fallen apprentice, face to face. You're even weaker than I remembered, Lord Vader. Pathetic, broken. Why do you persist? Because he's my son, and I will not fail him again. Palpatine laughs and breaks the lock, slashes at Vader's chest. The blow lands but glances off armor. Vader counters with an overhead strike. The Emperor parries and kicks Vader in the knee joint. The damaged leg buckles. Vader stumbles. Palpatine presses the advantage. His lightsaber moves in a blur, each strike precise, clinical, designed to exploit every weakness in Vader's armor, every damaged system, every limitation. Vader can barely defend. His respirator wheezes, his movements lag, he's being overwhelmed. Luke recovers and force leaps back into the fight, comes at Palpatine from behind. The Emperor doesn't even turn, just raises his free hand. Lightning erupts, catches Luke midair. The electricity courses through him. Luke screams, falls. His body convulses on the ground. Vader uses the distraction, swings his lightsaber in a wide arc. Palpatine blocks, but Vader follows with a force push. The Emperor stumbles back a step. The first time he's given any ground. Vader presses forward, raining blows down, each one powerful. each one driven by decades of suppressed rage and guilt. Palpatine's smile fades. His blocks become more focused. This broken shell still has fight left. Interesting. Luke forces himself up. Every nerve screams in protest. But he ignites his lightsaber and rejoins the battle. Now it's 2 against 1, father and son, working together for the first time. They don't coordinate perfectly, haven't trained together. But there's an instinct, a connection through the Force that guides them. Luke attacks high, Vader attacks low. The Emperor has to divide his attention, has to work to defend. And for just a moment, doubt flickers in those yellow eyes. He didn't expect this, didn't plan for the Skywalkers to unite. His smile returns, colder now. So be it. If you insist on fighting together, you'll die together. He unleashes a wave of Force energy, pure power, not lightning, not push, just raw dark side might. It explodes outward in all directions. Luke and Vader are thrown back. So are the rebels and Imperials watching. Everyone within 50 meters is knocked down. The ground cracks. Ash rises in clouds. When it settles, Palpatine stands at the center of a crater, unharmed, unbothered, radiating power that makes the air itself shimmer. You were both such disappointments. One too weak to finish what he started, the other too blind to see the truth until it was too late. But I suppose it's fitting. The Skywalker bloodline ends here, as it should have ended decades ago. He raises his hands. Lightning erupts, but not like before. This isn't controlled. This is chaos, pure destruction. Bolts arc in every direction. The sky lights up. The lava rivers nearby boil and overflow. The fortress begins to crumble. This is the Emperor's true power, the might that destroyed the Jedi Order, that ruled a galaxy through fear. Luke and Vader are both hit. The electricity doesn't discriminate, doesn't focus, just destroys. Luke feels his skin burning, his muscles seizing, his heart struggling to maintain rhythm. Beside him, Vader screams as his suit's systems overload. Circuits explode. Life support fails. Smoke pours from joints. They're dying, both of them. And Palpatine is laughing. The sound echoes across Mustafar, triumphant, victorious. But then something changes. Luke reaches out through the pain, reaches for his father through the Force. And Vader reaches back. Their minds touch, their powers merge. And suddenly Luke can feel it. The technique Vader learned decades ago. A way to absorb and redirect lightning. It's dangerous. Can kill the user if done wrong. But they have no choice. Luke raises his lightsaber. The blade catches the lightning, channels it. The weapon glows white-hot. Sparks and flames dance along its length, but it holds. Vader sees what Luke is doing, understands. He raises his own blade, does the same. 2 lightsabers, 2 wielders, both absorbing the Emperor's attack. Palpatine's smile fades. Impossible. You don't have the strength, the technique, the training. I don't. But we do. Luke's voice is strained. Every word costs him. Vader's respirator wheezes. Smoke leaks from his mask, but he stands, holds his ground, and together they push back. The lightning begins to reverse. Slowly, inch by inch. The dark side energy flows back toward its source. Palpatine's eyes widen. Genuine surprise, perhaps even fear. He pours more power into the attack. The lightning intensifies. But Luke and Vader match him, father and son, united, drawing on something the Sith could never understand. Love. The power born from connection, from family, from the desperate need to save each other. It's not pure light side, not pure dark, but something in between, something uniquely Skywalker. They advance, step by step, through the Emperor's onslaught, through pain that would kill lesser beings. The ground cracks beneath their feet. The air burns. Nearby soldiers, Rebel and Imperial both, are forced to retreat further. The power being unleashed is too much, too intense. This is a battle of titans. The fate of the galaxy decided by 3 Force users on a world of fire and ash. Luke can feel his father's pain through their connection, can feel Vader's body breaking, systems failing, life draining away. But Vader doesn't stop, doesn't quit, doesn't surrender. He gives everything he has. Decades of guilt transformed into power. Decades of regret become strength. This is his chance, his one opportunity to make amends, to be the father he should have been, to save his son. And he will not fail. Not this time. Not ever again. They reach the Emperor together. Luke's lightsaber high, Vader's low. The lightning still rages between them and Palpatine, a barrier of pure energy. But they push through, forcing themselves forward, their blades getting closer. Palpatine's expression shifts from surprise to rage. He screams, unleashes everything, every ounce of dark side power accumulated over decades. The attack is apocalyptic. The fortress collapses, the ground splits open, lava erupts in geysers, the sky itself seems to crack. But Luke and Vader don't stop, don't retreat, don't falter. They strike together. 2 red blades, 2 generations of Skywalker, both cutting through Palpatine's defenses, both finding their mark. The Emperor's lightning dies, his body convulses. He looks down at the lightsabers protruding from his chest, then up at Luke and Vader, his yellow eyes wide with disbelief and infinite rage. This cannot be. You were mine. Both of you. My creations. My weapons. How? Luke pulls his blade free. Vader does the same. Palpatine stumbles, falls to his knees. Blood leaks from the wounds. But worse, the dark side is leaving him. The power that sustained him for so long is fleeing, seeking new hosts, finding none. You were wrong. Luke's voice is steady despite his injuries, despite the pain coursing through every nerve. We were never yours. We're Skywalkers. And you should have remembered what that means. Palpatine tries to speak, tries to unleash one final attack, but his body fails. The dark side master, the Sith Lord, the Emperor who ruled a galaxy, falls face first into the ash of Mustafar. Dead. His body begins to decay immediately, flesh turning grey, withering, until only robes and bones remain. The dark side has consumed its vessel completely. Luke collapses to his knees, gasping for breath. Every muscle screams. His skin is burned. His clothes are scorched. But he's alive. Vader falls beside him. The damage to his suit is catastrophic. Warning lights flash across the chest panel. The respirator barely functions. Luke turns to his father and sees the extent of the destruction. No. No. You can't. Not now. We need to get you to a medical facility. Vader's scarred hand reaches up, touches Luke's face with surprising gentleness. It's too late. My systems are failing. I have minutes at best, but it's okay. I got to fight beside my son. Got to see you choose the light. Got to help end the monster who destroyed us both. That's more than I deserved. Tears stream down Luke's face. I just found you. I can't lose you already. We barely had any time. You won't lose me. I'll always be with you. Through the Force, a presence, a guide, just like your mother. Watch over your sister. Protect each other. Don't let the past define your future. Be better than I was. Be the Jedi I should have been. His breathing becomes more labored, each breath a struggle. Luke holds his father's hand, feels the life fading. Vader's eyes meet his, blue eyes, clear, uncorrupted. The yellow is gone. Anakin Skywalker has returned. Luke, thank you for saving me, for choosing right even when it was hard. Your mother would be so proud. Tell Leia, I'm sorry. Sorry I couldn't protect her. Couldn't be there for either of you. But know that I loved you both, more than anything." His eyes close. The light fades from them. The respirator gives one final wheeze and stops. Anakin Skywalker dies as he lived his final moments, saving the ones he loved, choosing redemption over darkness, choosing sacrifice over survival. Luke holds his father's body and weeps, great, racking sobs that shake his entire frame. He'd been alone for so long, 10 years in Imperial custody, 10 years believing he had no one. And now, for a brief moment, he'd had a father, someone who understood, someone who'd been through the same manipulation, someone who loved him. And that person is gone. Leia approaches slowly, her rifle lowered, her helmet removed. She kneels beside Luke, places a hand on his shoulder, says nothing, doesn't offer platitudes or false comfort, just sits with him, lets him grieve. Around them, the battle has stopped. Both sides watch in silence. The Emperor's body smolders. The Skywalker twins mourn their father. The galaxy's future hangs in the balance. Rebel medics approach cautiously. They treat Luke's injuries, burns across his chest and arms, internal bleeding from the lightning. Force exhaustion, multiple fractured ribs. He needs weeks of recovery, but he'll live. Leia organizes extraction. Both sides have taken heavy casualties. The Imperial forces, leaderless without Palpatine, retreat in confusion. Some surrender. Others flee into space. The chain of command has collapsed. The Empire is fracturing in real time. Luke refuses to leave Vader's body. He carries it himself to the rebel transport, lays it gently in the cargo hold. His father deserves better than to be abandoned on Mustafar. Deserves a proper funeral. Deserves to be remembered as Anakin Skywalker, not Darth Vader. The journey back to the rebel base takes 2 days. Luke spends most of it in medical, Bacta treatments, bone knitting, skin regeneration, but also processing everything. The truth about his parents, about the Empire, about himself, about the 10 years he spent as the Emperor's weapon, the kills he can never undo, the Jedi he murdered, the rebels he hunted, the innocents whose blood stains his hands. The guilt is overwhelming, crushing. How does he live with that? How does he move forward knowing what he's done? Leia visits frequently. At first, they don't talk much. The silence is heavy with years of conditioning and conflict. They were enemies, tried to kill each other. And now they're siblings, family. It's awkward, painful, but necessary. Gradually, they begin to share their stories. Leia speaks about Alderaan, about Bail and Breha Organa, about a childhood filled with love and purpose, about joining the rebellion at 16, about fighting for justice. Luke speaks about the Lars homestead, about Owen and Beru dying to protect him, about the Emperor's lies, about the training and conditioning, about the collar, about the kills, about the doubt that plagued him even as he tried to suppress it. As they talk, the connection between them grows. The Force bond they've always possessed. They're twins, 2 halves of a whole, separated by circumstance and manipulation, but still connected, still family. When they reach the rebel base on Yavin 4, Luke expects arrest, interrogation, execution. He's the Emperor's shadow. He's killed rebels, Jedi, innocents. His hands are soaked in blood. He deserves punishment. But Leia advocates for him, tells Mon Mothma and the rebel command about his choice on Mustafar, about how he turned against the Emperor, about how he helped defeat the Sith. Mon Mothma is skeptical, but she recognizes opportunity. The Emperor is dead. The Empire is fracturing. Warlords are seizing sectors. Chaos threatens to consume the galaxy. The rebellion needs every advantage. And Luke Skywalker represents significant intelligence value. He knows Imperial secrets, codes, troop movements, weaknesses. After days of debate, the command makes their decision. Luke will be granted provisional amnesty. In exchange, he'll provide intelligence, help the rebellion transition into a new government, and undergo deprogramming to address years of Imperial conditioning. It's mercy Luke doesn't feel he deserves, but he accepts it, because the alternative is remaining the Empire's weapon, and he refuses to be that anymore. The funeral for Anakin Skywalker is held in a forest clearing on Yavin 4. Attendance is small. Just Luke, Leia, Mon Mothma, a few rebel officers, and a holocron Obi-Wan left behind before his death. Luke speaks the words, tries to make sense of his father's life. A man who'd been a hero, then a monster, then at the very end, a hero again. Anakin's path was defined by manipulation and loss, but also by love. He fell trying to save those he cared about, and rose by doing the same. As the suns set, they ignite the funeral pyre. Watch the flames consume Vader's armor and Anakin's body. Luke feels something shift in the Force. A presence, warm, gentle, proud. He looks up and sees three figures made of light. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, and Anakin Skywalker, young, whole, free from scars and suffering. His father smiles at him, nods, then fades into the Force. Luke feels tears again, but these aren't tears of grief. These are tears of release. His father is at peace. The legacy of Darth Vader is over. The story of Anakin Skywalker is complete. The next months are chaos. The Empire fractures into dozens of warlord states. Imperial officers fight each other for control. Some sectors declare independence. Others try to maintain Imperial rule. The rebellion, now the New Republic, struggles to establish legitimacy. Leia throws herself into political work, becomes a senator, like their mother. Advocates for peaceful transitions, for forgiveness and integration rather than vengeance. Works tirelessly to build a government that serves its people, that learns from the Republic's failures, that prevents another Palpatine. Luke doesn't join her, can't join her. His hands are too bloodied. The New Republic offers him amnesty, recognition as a war hero, but he refuses. He doesn't deserve praise, doesn't deserve forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Instead, Luke becomes a wanderer. He leaves Yavin 4 and begins hunting the Empire's worst remnants, the warlords who refuse to surrender, the Inquisitors who continue their purges, the dark side cultists trying to resurrect Sith teachings. Luke uses his knowledge against them, knows their tactics, their bases, their weaknesses. He becomes their nightmare, the Emperor's shadow, turned against the Empire itself. His first target is Moff Pandion, an Imperial governor who declared himself warlord of the Tyun cluster. He's been executing civilians, enslaving populations, using terror to maintain control. Intelligence reports put his death toll in the hundreds of thousands. Men, women, children. Entire villages razed for suspected rebel sympathies. Luke studies the reports and feels sick. This is what the Empire does, what he served, what he enabled. Pandion operates from a Victory-class Star Destroyer, the Subjugator. Fitting name. Luke infiltrates during a routine supply run, hides in a cargo container, waits for the right moment, then emerges in the ship's lower levels. No alarms, no alerts. He's been doing this for years. Knows how to move unseen, how to exploit blind spots in sensor coverage, how to time his movements with crew shift changes. He's a shadow, a ghost, death walking the corridors. Luke makes his way through the ship systematically, takes out sentries silently. A force choke here, a quick blade strike there, bodies hidden in maintenance closets. He's efficient, clinical, feels nothing as he works. These men chose to serve a warlord. chose to follow orders to massacre civilians. They earned their deaths. Luke reaches the command deck. Officers work at stations, coordinating raids, planning attacks, discussing which world to subjugate next. They speak casually about death tolls, about acceptable losses, about making examples. Luke listens from the shadows, and his hand tightens on his lightsaber. These aren't soldiers following orders. These are willing participants, enthusiastic supporters of atrocity. He almost ignites his blade right there, almost announces himself and cuts them all down. But that would trigger alarms. Alert the ship. Give Pandion a chance to escape. Luke forces himself to be patient, to wait. He bypasses the command deck and heads for Pandion's personal quarters. The Moff is dining when Luke enters. A lavish meal spread before him. Luxury while his subjects starve. Pandion is fat, indulgent, soft from years of unchallenged power. He doesn't even notice Luke at first, too focused on his food, on his wine, on his comfort. Luke watches him for a moment, studies this man who's caused so much suffering, and feels nothing. No anger, no hatred, just cold certainty. This man needs to die. Luke steps into the light, ignites his lightsaber. The blue blade casts light across the room. Pandion turns, sees Luke, sees death. His face goes pale. The wineglass falls from nerveless fingers. You're the Emperor's shadow. But the Emperor is dead. I serve a new master now. Justice. Pandion tries to call for guards, opens his mouth to scream. Luke raises a hand. The Force closes around Pandion's throat, cuts off air, cuts off sound. The Moff claws at his neck desperately. His face turns purple, eyes bulge. Luke watches without emotion. This is necessary. This man killed hundreds of thousands. He deserves no mercy, no quick death. Let him suffer as his victims suffered. But then Luke hesitates, lowers his hand slightly. Air returns to Pandion's lungs. The Moff gasps, coughs, looks at Luke with desperate hope. Thank you. I can pay you. Whatever you want. Credits, ships, information, anything. Luke's expression doesn't change. How many children did you kill? What? How many children? When you bombed civilian centers? When you executed families? How many children died on your orders? I don't. I was following Imperial protocol, making examples to maintain order. You were murdering innocents to maintain power. There's a difference. Pandion's false hope turns to anger. Who are you to judge me? You're the Emperor's shadow. You've killed more than I ever could. I know. Luke's voice is quiet. And I have to live with that every day. But unlike you, I'm trying to do better. Trying to make amends. You're just trying to continue the atrocities. That ends now. He raises his hand again. This time he doesn't hesitate. The Force crushes Pandion's throat completely. The Moff's body slumps, dead. Luke stands over the corpse and feels empty. He just killed a man, executed him. Is that justice? Or is it revenge? Is he making the galaxy better? Or is he just replacing one killer with another? Luke doesn't have answers, so he does what he came to do. He accesses Pandion's computer, leaves a message. Justice has come. The shadow serves a new master now. Then he vanishes before security arrives. News of Pandion's death spreads quickly through Imperial remnant channels. Other warlords grow paranoid, increase security. Some flee to unknown space. Others band together for mutual protection. But it doesn't matter. Luke is patient, methodical. One by one, he hunts them. His second target is Inquisitor Veros, one of Luke's former training partners. They'd grown up together in the dormitory, competed, trained side by side. Veros had been talented, skilled, but also cruel. He enjoyed hurting the younger students, enjoyed using his power to dominate. Now Veros leads purges in the mid-rim, hunting Force sensitives, killing anyone who might become a Jedi. Men, women, children. It doesn't matter. If they have Force sensitivity, they die. Veros believes he's finishing the Emperor's work, completing the purge Palpatine started. Luke tracks him to Lothal, a quiet, agricultural world. Veros has established a base there, uses it to coordinate his hunts across the sector. Luke waits until Veros is alone, then confronts him in an empty warehouse outside the base. Veros sees Luke and smiles, that same cruel smile from their childhood. "Brother, I wondered when you'd come. I heard about your betrayal, how you killed the Emperor. Some call you a hero, but I know better. You're a traitor." Luke ignites his lightsaber. The blue blade hums. Veros stares. "Blue. You've betrayed everything we were, everything we learned. The Jedi were weak, we were strong. The Jedi were deceived, we were used. There's a difference." Veros snarls. "Deceived? We were given purpose, power, a place in the galaxy. The Emperor gave us everything. The Emperor gave us nothing but lies and pain." Luke's voice is steady. "He used us, twisted us, turned us into weapons. I won't be his weapon anymore. Then you'll die as a traitor." Veros ignites his own lightsaber, red blade matching his rage. They circle each other. Two products of the same conditioning, same training, same pain, but different choices. "I don't want to kill you." Luke keeps his blade in a defensive position. "Surrender. Face justice." "There are people who want to help former Imperials reintegrate. You don't have to keep killing." Veros laughs. "Justice? From the rebels? They'll execute me for what I've done. Better to die fighting. At least that has honor." Veros attacks. His style is pure aggression, all offense, no defense. The way the Inquisitors taught them. Overwhelming force. Break the enemy through sheer violence. Luke parries, deflects, doesn't counterattack, still trying to reach him, still hoping Veros will see reason. But Veros is lost, too deep in the dark side, too committed to his path. He fights with fury and hatred, every strike meant to kill. Luke realizes there's no saving him, no redemption for someone who refuses to change. So he stops holding back, stops defending, and shows Veros what true skill looks like. Luke's blade becomes a blur. He strikes at Veros's wrists, at his knees, at his weapon, targeting limbs, trying to disable without killing. But Veros fights through the pain, refuses to surrender, forces Luke to make a choice. Finally, Luke disarms him, literally. His lightsaber cuts through Veros's wrist. The hand, still clutching the lightsaber, falls to the ground. Veros screams, collapses. Luke stands over him, lightsaber raised but not striking. Last chance. Surrender. Veros looks up at him. Blood pours from his stump. His face is pale with shock and blood loss, but his eyes burn with hatred. "I'll never surrender to rebel scum." "Then you've made your choice." Luke's blade falls, ends it quickly, mercifully. More mercy than Veros ever showed his victims. Luke stands over the body and feels nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, just emptiness. Another name on his list, another death he'll carry forever. His third target is different. Not a warlord or inquisitor, a scientist. Dr. Silo. The man responsible for Vader's suit, for the cybernetics that kept Anakin alive, trapped in a prison of metal and pain. But Silo didn't stop with Vader. After the Emperor's death, he continued his work, started experimenting on captured rebels, turning them into cyborg weapons, creating a new generation of enhanced soldiers. He calls them the superior infantry. claims they're the future of warfare. Luke finds his laboratory on Moraband, ancient Sith world, fitting location for such dark work. The lab is underground, deep beneath Sith temples thousands of years old, protected by automated defenses and enhanced subjects. Luke fights his way through. Each subject he faces was once a person, once had a name, a family, dreams. Now they're weapons, programmed, conditioned, their bodies more machine than flesh. They attack with inhuman speed and strength. No hesitation, no mercy, just pure aggression. Luke tries to incapacitate rather than kill. These are victims, not villains, but some can't be saved. Their minds are too far gone, their bodies too modified, their humanity erased by Silo's experiments. Luke does what he must, grants them the mercy of death, frees them from their mechanical prisons. Each one he kills hurts. Each one is a reminder of what he could have become, what Palpatine wanted to turn him into. He pushes deeper into the facility, past surgical rooms, past cells holding more victims, past computer banks storing Silo's research. Finally, he reaches the main laboratory. Silo is there, working on his latest subject, a young woman, unconscious, restrained, half her body already replaced with cybernetics. Luke's rage finally breaks through. "What have you done?" Silo turns, smiles, doesn't show fear, just scientific interest. "Ah, Subject Skywalker, I'd hoped you'd survive Mustafar. Your father was my greatest creation. But you could be even greater. Let me enhance you, perfect you. Imagine your strength combined with cybernetic augmentation. You'd be unstoppable." Luke looks at the surgical tables, the restraints, the tools, the other subjects in their cells, looks at what his father endured, what this monster creates. Never. This ends now. Silo's smile doesn't fade. "You can't stop progress. Even if you destroy me, others will continue my work. The Empire may have fallen, but the research remains. Someone will always seek to improve humanity through technology. Maybe, but they'll do it without you. And they won't have access to your research." Luke raises his hand. The Force closes around Silo's throat. The scientist's smile finally fades. He claws at his neck, tries to speak, but there's nothing to grab, just invisible pressure. Luke watches him die, feels nothing. This man deserved worse, deserved to experience what he inflicted on his victims. But Luke won't become a torturer, won't sink to that level. Death is enough. Justice is served. After Silo dies, Luke frees the subjects. Some are too far gone, their minds broken, their bodies failing. Luke grants them peace. Others might be saved with proper medical care. Luke calls in coordinates to the New Republic, lets them handle the rescue. Then he plants explosives throughout the lab, destroys every computer, every file, every piece of equipment. The facility collapses, buried under tons of rock. Silo's work dies with him. One more monster removed from the galaxy. Leia sends Luke coordinates, targets, intelligence. They maintain communication, building their sibling relationship slowly, learning to trust each other, to understand each other. It's difficult. They've been shaped by such different experiences. Leia grew up with love. Luke grew up with pain. But they're family. And that bond transcends differences. Leia sends him to Jakku, an Imperial listening post that's been attacking New Republic ships. Luke infiltrates it, discovers it's automated, run by AI. He tries to shut it down peacefully, but the AI refuses, believes the Empire still exists, that the Emperor still commands. Luke has no choice. He destroys the facility's core, watches the station tear itself apart. As he escapes, he realizes something. The Empire isn't just warlords and inquisitors. It's systems, beliefs, ideas. You can kill all the leaders you want, but if the ideas survive, the Empire survives. That's a harder enemy to fight, one that can't be defeated with a lightsaber. Luke realizes he needs to do more than hunt. He needs to change minds, change hearts, show people that the Emperor's way was wrong, that there's a better path. He begins visiting worlds the Empire ravaged, helping rebuild, using the Force not to destroy, but to create, to heal, to restore. It's slow work, harder than fighting, but more meaningful. On Ryloth, he helps rebuild a city destroyed by Imperial bombing, uses the Force to lift debris, to clear roads, to restore infrastructure. The Twi'leks are suspicious at first. They recognize him, the Emperor's shadow, the monster who killed their resistance leaders. But Luke doesn't hide from their anger, doesn't make excuses, just works. Day after day, week after week. Slowly, the suspicion fades. People see him carrying rubble, see him repairing homes, see him refusing to use his power for violence. A young Twi'lek girl approaches him one day. "You killed my uncle. She can't be more than 12. Her eyes are hard, accusing. Luke stops working, kneels to her level. "Yes, I probably did. I'm sorry. That's all? That's all you have to say?" "No." Luke pulls out a small device, a hollow recorder. "I've been documenting my work, keeping a record, so that one day, people like you can know the truth about what I did, and decide for yourselves what I deserve." The girl stares at him, then at the recorder. "Why? Why tell the truth if it condemns you? Because lies are what created me. Lies are what destroyed the galaxy. I won't perpetuate them, even if the truth damns me." The girl is silent for a long moment. Then she nods. "Help me fix my house." "My mother can't do it alone." Luke nods. Together they work. Years pass. The New Republic stabilizes, wins battles against Imperial remnants, integrates former Imperial worlds. The galaxy begins to heal. Leia becomes one of the New Republic's most prominent senators, an advocate for justice and reconciliation. She never forgets where the old Republic failed, never lets the new government make the same mistakes. Luke continues his work, hunting the worst, helping rebuild. Slowly, the guilt becomes manageable. Not gone, never gone, but bearable. He learns to live with what he's done, to accept it, to use it as motivation. He encounters other Force sensitives during his travels, people who hid their abilities, children who were never found, adults who suppressed their gifts out of fear. Luke begins training them, not as Jedi, not as Sith, but as something new, a philosophy that acknowledges both light and dark, that teaches balance rather than denial, that recognizes emotion as part of being alive, but doesn't let it dominate. He calls it the gray path, or sometimes the Skywalker tradition. It's a work in progress, an attempt to learn from Jedi and Sith failures, to create something better. His first student is a Zabrak woman named Kira. She hid her powers for 20 years, afraid the Inquisitors would find her, afraid of what she might become. Luke teaches her control, discipline, but also acceptance. You don't have to be ashamed of what you are. The Force is a gift. Use it wisely. Use it to help. But don't fear it. Kira learns quickly. Eventually, she begins teaching others. The tradition grows. Luke establishes a small academy on Ossus, ancient Jedi world. The original temples are ruins, but Luke builds something new, not grand, not imposing, just a simple compound, training halls, meditation rooms, gardens, a place of learning and reflection. Students come slowly. Some are Force-sensitive. Others are just people wanting to learn philosophy. Luke turns no one away. He teaches combat because it's necessary. The galaxy is dangerous. But he emphasizes that violence is a last resort, that the true strength is in healing, in building, in protecting. One of his students asks him once about the dark side. "Master Luke, how do we resist it? How do we avoid falling like your father did?" Luke is quiet for a long moment, considers the question carefully. You don't resist it, you understand it. The dark side is part of the Force, part of life. Anger, fear, pain. These are real emotions. Denying them gives them power over you. But accepting them, understanding them, that's how you maintain balance. My father fell because he was afraid, because he thought he had to choose between love and duty, between emotion and control. But that's a false choice. You can love and still make wise decisions. You can feel anger without letting it control you. The key is awareness, understanding yourself, your emotions, your motivations. That's true strength. The student considers this. So we embrace the dark side? No, we acknowledge it. There's a difference. Embracing means surrendering to it. Acknowledging means recognizing it exists, understanding its nature, and choosing not to let it dominate. We walk a middle path, never too far into darkness, never denying its existence. Balance. The teaching continues. Luke develops specific training methods, different from the old Jedi Order, different from the Sith. Something new, something better. He starts each day with meditation, but not the passive meditation the Jedi practiced. Active meditation. Students are encouraged to feel their emotions, to acknowledge them, to understand where they come from. Luke walks among them during these sessions, offers guidance, answers questions. He stops beside a young human woman named Kira. She's trembling, face tight with concentration. What's wrong? She opens her eyes. I'm angry. I keep thinking about my family, about what the Empire did to them, and I get so angry I can't focus. Good. That's good. She looks confused. How is that good? I'm supposed to be at peace. Who told you that? The Jedi believed in peace, in serenity, and look what happened to them. They became so detached from their emotions that they couldn't see the Sith Lord in front of them for years. Your anger is valid. Your pain is real. Don't try to suppress it. Understand it. Why are you angry? Because the Empire destroyed everything I loved. And where does that anger want to go? It wants. She hesitates. It wants revenge. Exactly. And if you suppress that feeling, if you pretend it doesn't exist, it will grow in the darkness. It will consume you when you're not looking. But if you acknowledge it, if you understand it, you can choose what to do with it. You can choose justice over revenge. You can choose to build rather than destroy. You can transform that anger into purpose. Kira's expression shifts. I never thought of it that way. Most people don't. The Jedi taught suppression. The Sith taught indulgence. But there's a third way. Understanding, acceptance, and conscious choice. Luke implements this philosophy in combat training as well. Students spar with practice blades, learn lightsaber forms, but Luke emphasizes defense over offense. Most of you won't become warriors. Most of you will use your abilities to help, to heal, to teach. But you need to know how to defend yourselves, how to protect others. Violence should always be your last option. But when it's necessary, you must be ready. He demonstrates, calls one of his more advanced students forward. A Twi'lek man named Resh. Attack me. Any way you want. Resh hesitates. Master, I don't want to hurt you. You won't. But you might learn something. Attack. Resh nods, ignites his practice saber, charges forward with an overhead strike. Luke doesn't move until the last possible instant. Then he sidesteps. Minimal movement. The blade passes centimeters from his shoulder. Resh follows with a horizontal slash. Luke leans back. The blade whistles past his chest. Resh continues, strike after strike, each one avoided by the smallest margin. Luke doesn't block, doesn't parry, just evades. Finally, Resh stops, breathing hard. How do you do that? Awareness. I'm not watching your blade. I'm watching you, your body language, your weight distribution, your eyes. Your weapon is just an extension of yourself. If I understand you, I can predict your attacks. Watch. He has Resh attack again. This time, Luke narrates. You're shifting your weight to your left leg. That means a right-handed strike is coming. Your shoulder is tensing. Overhead attack. Your eyes glance at my ribs. You want to feint high and strike low. Each prediction is perfect. Each evasion minimal and effortless. The students watch in awe. But Luke also teaches them when not to fight. Brings in scenarios, role-playing exercises. You're in a market. Someone steals food. Do you stop them? A student raises her hand. Yes? I'd stop them. Theft is wrong. Luke nods. Okay. Why did they steal? Because they're a criminal? Maybe. Or maybe they're hungry. Maybe their family is starving and they have no credits. If you stop them, they go hungry. Their children go hungry. Is that justice? The student looks uncertain. I don't know. Exactly. You don't know. So before you act, before you use your power, you need to understand the situation. Context matters. A Jedi of the Old Order might stop the thief without question, upholding the law. But laws can be unjust. Laws can serve the powerful while harming the weak. You must think, question, understand, then act according to your conscience, not according to dogma. Another student speaks up. But doesn't that make morality relative? If everyone decides for themselves, how do we maintain order? Good question. Luke smiles. Morality isn't relative, but it is complex. There are absolutes. Murder is wrong. Slavery is wrong. Genocide is wrong. These aren't debatable, but there are gray areas, situations where every choice has costs. In those cases, you must use your judgment, your compassion, your wisdom. And yes, sometimes you'll make mistakes. Sometimes you'll choose wrong. That's part of being alive. The key is to learn from those mistakes, to grow, to do better next time. Luke shares his own mistakes with his students, doesn't hide his past, doesn't pretend to be perfect. One evening, during a communal meal, a young student asks the question everyone wants to ask, but fears to. Master Luke, you were the Emperor's shadow. You killed Jedi, rebels. How many people did you kill? The room falls silent. Every eye turns to Luke. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he speaks. 37. 37 people I killed directly. With my hands, or my lightsaber, or the Force. Hundreds more died because of my actions. Because I led attacks. Because I provided intelligence. Because I served the Empire. The exact number I'll never know. But it's in the hundreds. Maybe thousands. The students are shocked, silent. Luke continues, I tell you this not to glorify what I did, but to show you the cost of serving evil, even if you believe it's good, even if you think you're helping. I thought I was bringing order, thought I was protecting the galaxy. I was wrong, and people died because of my mistake. People with families, with dreams, with lives that mattered. I carry those deaths with me every day, every single day. And I will for the rest of my life. Then why do you teach us? The young student's voice is small. If you did all that, why should we listen to you? Because I know what happens when you don't question, when you don't think, when you just follow orders. I know where that path leads. and I'm trying to ensure you never walk it. Learn from my mistakes. Be better than I was. That's all I can offer." Another student, older, speaks up. "Do you think you've earned redemption?" Luke looks at him directly. "No. I don't think redemption is something you earn. It's something you pursue, every day, with every choice. I'm trying to do better, trying to help instead of harm, trying to build instead of destroy. Whether that redeems me, that's not for me to decide. That's for my victims to decide, for the galaxy to decide, for the Force to decide. All I can do is keep trying, keep working, keep teaching, and hope that somehow, some way, it makes a difference." The students are quiet, processing. Then the young student who asked the question speaks again. "I'm glad you're teaching us. I'm glad you're trying. That takes courage." Luke smiles. "It's not courage. It's necessity. I can't undo what I've done. But I can try to prevent others from making the same mistakes. That's not courage. That's just trying to live with myself." The conversation shifts, moves to other topics. But Luke knows that moment mattered. That honesty mattered. His students need to see him as human, as flawed, as someone who made terrible choices and is trying to make better ones. Not as some perfect master with all the answers, but as a man still learning, still growing, still trying to find his way. 5 years after Vader's death, Luke returns to Tatooine, the planet where it all began. He stands at the Lars homestead ruins, or what's left of them. The Empire never rebuilt it, just left the burned remains. Luke places flowers at the unmarked graves. Owen and Beru Lars, the people who raised him, protected him, died for him. "I'm sorry." His voice is quiet, carried away by wind. "I'm sorry I couldn't save you. I'm sorry for everything I became. But I'm trying to be better now, trying to honor your sacrifice. I hope, wherever you are, you can forgive me." A presence appears beside him. Obi-Wan Kenobi's Force ghost, blue and translucent. The old Jedi looks at Luke with pride and sadness. "You found your way, Luke. As I always knew you would. Did you? Know I would. Or did you hope? Both. Hope is what keeps us going, even in the darkest times. You had every reason to stay loyal to Palpatine, every justification, but you chose differently. That's what defines us, Luke. Not our past, not what was done to us, but the choices we make." Luke looks at his hands, the hands that killed so many. "I can't undo what I've done. The Jedi I killed, the rebels, the innocents. That blood never washes away. No, but you can choose what comes next. You can build something better, like your father did at the end, like you're already doing." Luke pulls out his lightsaber, blue blade, pure, like Anakin's once was. "I'm building a new order, teaching others to walk a balanced path, learning from Jedi and Sith mistakes, trying to create something that won't fail the way the old order did." Obi-Wan smiles. "Your father would be proud, your mother too. They wanted you to have a choice, to live free. You're honoring their legacy by choosing to be better." A ship lands nearby. Leia emerges. She's here to bring news. Another Imperial warlord to hunt. Another mission. Luke deactivates his blade, looks at his sister. She's become a powerful senator, a voice for justice. Their mother's daughter in every way. Together they'll build a better galaxy. Not perfect, but better. Luke walks toward her. Obi-Wan's ghost fades, but his presence remains. A warmth in the Force. A reminder that Luke is never truly alone. The past can't be changed. The dead can't be brought back. The mistakes can't be undone. But the future remains unwritten. And Luke Skywalker, once the Emperor's shadow, now stands in the light. Not as a Jedi, not as a Sith, but as himself. A Skywalker, flawed, scarred, broken in places, but free. Finally, truly free, and ready to face whatever comes next. 10 years after Mustafar, the galaxy has changed. The New Republic is stable. The Empire is reduced to scattered remnants. Most have surrendered. Some have been eliminated. A few still resist, but they're no longer a threat, just holdouts clinging to a dead dream. Luke's academy has grown. 20 students from a dozen different species, all learning the gray path, all seeking balance. Leia visits sometimes, brings her son, Ben, a Force-sensitive child she and Han Solo are raising. Luke meets his nephew for the first time. The boy is young, maybe 5, but already powerful. The Force is strong in him. Incredibly strong. Stronger than anyone Luke has ever encountered except his own father. The potential in this child is staggering and terrifying. Leia watches Luke interact with Ben. There's fear in her eyes. Fear Luke recognizes. The same fear Anakin must have felt about Padme. The fear of losing someone you love. Will you train him? Luke kneels to Ben's level, studies the boy. Hello, Ben. Do you know what the Force is? The boy nods seriously. Mom says it's magic. His voice is small but curious, sort of. It's energy. It connects all living things. And you're very strong in it. The boy's eyes widen. Am I? Can I move things? Like you? Someday. If you train. If you learn control. Would you like that? Yes. Ben bounces excitedly. Luke looks up at Leia. She nods. But there's still fear there. Give it a few years. Let him grow. Experience life. Experience childhood. Don't rush him into training. Then, if he still wants to when he's older, I'll train him. But not like the old order trained. Not isolated from family. Not denied connection. He'll learn balance. How to be strong in the Force, without losing himself. How to have attachments without fear. How to love without possessing. Leia's relief is palpable. Thank you. I was afraid you'd refuse. Or worse, that you'd train him the way you were trained. Never. Luke's voice is firm. Absolute. I know what that path leads to. I lived it. Won't inflict it on anyone. Especially not family. Especially not this boy who deserves so much better. They spend the afternoon together. Luke, Leia, Ben, and some of Luke's students. Ben plays with the other children at the academy. Laughs, runs, is just a kid. Luke watches him carefully, studies him through the Force. The boy's power is immense, but it's not corrupted, not tainted, just pure potential, like a river waiting to be channeled. The question is whether Luke can guide that river properly, whether he can teach Ben to control that power without fear, without the mistakes that destroyed Anakin. Years pass. Ben grows. At age 10, he asks to begin formal training. Luke agrees. But his teaching methods surprise everyone. He doesn't separate Ben from his family, doesn't isolate him. Instead, he encourages Ben to maintain those connections, to draw strength from love rather than fear it. Luke teaches him meditation, but also teaches him to process emotions. When Ben gets angry, Luke doesn't tell him to suppress it. He tells him to understand it. Why are you angry, Ben? Because Master Resh said I was being careless during lightsaber practice. And that made you feel like I wasn't good enough, like I'd disappointed him. Did you? Ben is quiet, then admits, yeah, I was being careless. I wasn't focused. So the anger is at yourself, not at Master Resh. Yes. Good. That's awareness. Now what are you going to do about it? Apologize. Focus better next time. Exactly. You felt anger. You understood where it came from. And you chose how to respond. That's control. Real control. Not suppression, not denial. Understanding and choice. Ben nods. Soaks up the lesson. Luke sees intelligence in those young eyes. And something else. Darkness. Not corruption, not evil, but potential for both light and dark. Ben Solo will be powerful. The question is what he'll choose to do with that power. Luke shares more of his past with Ben as the boy grows older. Doesn't hide who he was, what he did. One day, when Ben is 12, they sit together watching the sunset. Uncle Luke, can I ask you something? Of course. Were you really the Emperor's shadow? Did you really kill people? Luke is quiet for a moment, then nods. Yes, I was. And yes, I did. How many? Ben's voice is small, curious but also afraid. Too many. I killed Jedi, rebels, innocent people who were just trying to survive in a galaxy I helped keep oppressed. Why? Because I was lied to, manipulated, conditioned to believe the Empire was good, that the Jedi were evil, that serving the Emperor was serving justice. I was wrong. And people died because of my mistakes. Ben is silent, processing. Then, do you regret it? Every single day, every single moment. I carry the weight of those lives with me. I always will. But I've learned that regret alone isn't enough. Guilt alone isn't enough. You have to do something. Try to make amends. Try to be better. That's why I teach. Why I built this academy. Why I'm training you, not to assuage my guilt, but to ensure others don't make my mistakes. Ben nods slowly. I won't. Make those mistakes, I mean. I'll be better. Luke smiles, but it's sad. I hope so, Ben. I truly do. But everyone thinks they'll be better. Everyone thinks they won't fall. My father thought that. I thought that. The key is constant vigilance, constant questioning, constant awareness of yourself and your choices. The moment you think you're above falling is the moment you're most vulnerable. Remember that. More years pass. Ben becomes a skilled student, perhaps Luke's most talented. He masters lightsaber forms quickly. His connection to the Force is intuitive, natural. But Luke notices something troubling. Ben struggles with darkness, not because he's evil, but because his power is so immense that his emotions are equally strong. When Ben loves, he loves deeply. When he's angry, the rage is overwhelming. When he's afraid, the fear is paralyzing. Luke works with him constantly, teaches him techniques for managing those intense emotions, but he worries. Worries that despite his best efforts, Ben might still fall. Might still become what Anakin became, what Luke himself became. One night, Luke walks through the academy grounds, can't sleep. Too many thoughts. He finds Ben sitting alone, staring at the stars. The boy is 15 now, almost a man. Luke sits beside him. Can't sleep either? Ben shakes his head. I had a dream, a vision. I was. He hesitates. I was hurting people, using the dark side, becoming a monster. And I couldn't stop myself. It felt real. Luke's blood runs cold. This is how it started for Anakin. Visions, fear, the path to darkness. But he keeps his voice calm. Dreams can be warnings. The Force showing you a possible future, not a certain one. Possibilities, not destiny. But what if I can't control it? What if I become that monster? Then you'll have me, and your mother, and your father, and everyone who loves you. We'll help you. We'll guide you. But you have to trust us. Trust yourself. Trust that your choices matter, that you can choose differently. Ben looks at him. Do you ever have nightmares? About what you did? Every night, Luke admits. Every single night. Sometimes I dream about the people I killed. Sometimes I dream about becoming the shadow again, about losing control, about hurting the people I love. How do you deal with it? I remember that dreams are not reality, that I have choices, that every day I wake up, I can choose to be better, choose to help instead of harm. The nightmares show me what I could become if I stop trying, if I stop caring. They're reminders, not prophecies. Ben is quiet for a long time. Then, thank you for being honest, for not pretending to be perfect. It helps. Knowing you struggled too, knowing you still struggle. Everyone struggles, Ben. Anyone who says they don't is lying. The difference is how we handle that struggle, whether we let it define us or whether we use it to grow. You'll face darkness, you'll face temptation. You'll have moments where the easy path seems appealing, but you'll also have the tools to resist, the wisdom to choose better, and people who love you no matter what. That's more than my father had, more than I had. Use it. Years continue. Ben completes his training, becomes a Jedi Knight of Luke's new order, not a Jedi of the old way, not a Sith, but something in between, something balanced. Luke is proud, but also worried. The darkness in Ben hasn't disappeared. It's managed, controlled, but still present, like a storm waiting to break. Luke hopes his teaching was enough, hopes he gave Ben the tools to resist. But he knows hope isn't certainty. All he can do is trust. Trust in Ben, trust in Leia and Han, trust in the Force, and be ready to help if darkness ever comes calling. Luke often thinks about his legacy, about what he's built, about whether it's enough, whether the good he's done can ever balance the evil, whether he deserves the peace he's found. One evening, he stands on Ossus, watching his students train. The sun sets behind the temple, painting the sky in golds and reds. He feels at peace, not absolved. The guilt remains. The memories of what he did, who he killed, that never leaves. But he's learned to carry it, to use it as fuel for good rather than poison for his soul. Obi-Wan's ghost appears beside him. You've done well. Built something worth protecting. I hope so. Sometimes I wonder if it's enough, if I've truly made amends. Obi-Wan smiles. Redemption isn't a destination, it's a journey. You're not done yet, none of us are. Even in death, I'm still learning, still growing. The Force never stops teaching, if we're willing to listen. Anakin's ghost appears on Luke's other side. Your mother would be proud. She always believed in second chances, in the power of choice. You've honored that belief. Luke feels tears. Even now, after all these years, thinking of parents he never knew brings emotion. Thank you, both of you, for not giving up on me, for believing I could be more than Palpatine's weapon. Anakin smiles. You were always more. You just needed to remember. Needed to find your own path, not mine, not the Jedi's, yours. And you have. The ghosts fade, but their presence lingers, a warmth in the Force. Luke closes his eyes, breathes deeply. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new students, new threats. But tonight, he allows himself rest, allows himself to feel grateful for what he has, for the family he's found, for the purpose he's discovered, for the chance to make a difference. Luke Skywalker, son of Anakin and Padme, once the Emperor's weapon, now a teacher and guide, opens his eyes and looks to the future, not with fear, but with hope. Years continue. Luke trains Ben when he's older, teaches him control, discipline, but also compassion, connection. The old Jedi Order failed because they denied emotion, feared attachment. Luke teaches that love is not the enemy. Fear is. Fear of loss, fear of pain, fear of change. These things lead to the dark side, not love itself. Ben learns well, becomes a skilled Jedi, but also remains connected to his family, remains human. Luke is proud, sees in Ben what his father could have been, what he himself could have been. If circumstances were different, The circle is unbroken. The Skywalker legacy continues, not in darkness, not in isolation, but in balance, in connection, in hope. Luke often thinks about his father, about the choices Anakin made, the mistakes, the redemption. He understands now, understands the fear that drove him, the love that saved him. And Luke carries that lesson forward, teaches it to his students. Love can destroy if fear twists it, but love can also save if accepted and understood. It's not love that's dangerous, it's the fear of losing it. The Jedi forgot that. The Sith never understood it. But the Skywalkers learned, painfully, tragically, but learned nonetheless. Luke stands on Ossus, watching his students train. The sun sets behind the temple. Golden light casts long shadows. He feels at peace, not absolved, never absolved. The guilt remains. The memories of what he did, who he killed, that never leaves. But he's learned to carry it, to use it as fuel for good rather than poison for his soul. Obi-Wan's ghost appears beside him. You've done well, built something worth protecting. I hope so. Luke doesn't turn, keeps watching his students. Sometimes I wonder if I deserve this. Peace, purpose, a life after everything I've done. Obi-Wan places a translucent hand on his shoulder. Desert isn't relevant. What matters is what you're doing now, how you're helping, the people you're training, the lives you're saving. That's your legacy, not the past, but what you build from it. Anakin's ghost appears on Luke's other side. Your mother would agree. She always believed in second chances, in redemption, in the power of choice. Luke feels tears. Even now, after all these years, thinking of parents he never knew brings emotion. Thank you, both of you, for not giving up on me, for believing I could be more than what Palpatine made me. Anakin smiles. You were always more. You just needed to remember. The ghosts fade, but their presence lingers, a warmth in the Force, a reminder of what was lost and what was saved. Luke returns to his quarters as night falls. He opens a box he's kept all these years. Inside is the Japor snippet, the carving his father made for his mother. It's old now, worn, but still intact. Luke holds it gently. This small piece of wood has survived everything. Wars, death, darkness, it endured, just like hope, just like love, just like the Skywalker name. He places it carefully back in the box. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new students, new threats to face. But tonight, Luke allows himself rest, allows himself to remember, to grieve, to be grateful. He thinks of Owen and Beru, of Obi-Wan, of his father, of his mother he never knew, of all the people who shaped him, for good and ill. And he thinks of Leia, his sister, his family, his connection to everything good in his life. Together they've built something worth protecting, a galaxy where people have choices, where Force users aren't hunted or corrupted, where balance is possible. It's not perfect, never will be, but it's better, and that's enough. Luke Skywalker, son of Anakin and Padme, once the Emperor's weapon, now the Grey Jedi's founder, closes his eyes and sleeps. His dreams are not of fire and death, but of light and hope. And in the Force, across the galaxy, others dream with him, of a future built not on lies and fear, but on truth and courage. The Skywalker legacy endures, not as a curse, but as a promise, that even from the darkest fall, redemption is possible, that even the most broken can be made whole, that love, in the end, is stronger than hate. This is the way of balance. This is the path forward. This is hope. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.